Whatever you would have me do, I'll do the best that I can do, and offer all I do to you, with all my heart, with all my heart. You give me songs my heart can sing, with light and grace each day you bring, and walk with me through everything this life does impart, this life does impart. I'm really just a flute you play, you give me all the words to say, and walk through every day, through time's endless rounds. Oh, you who have stolen my heart and filled up each and every part with your love, with your name you do impart your songs, endless songs, your songs, endless songs. Whatever you would have me do, I'll do the best that I can do, and offer all I do to you, with all my heart, with all my heart, with all my heart.
Om Yang Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Dibbaistavaihi Vedvai Shanga Padakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yang Shamagaha Dhyana Tadgatena Manasha Pashyanti yang yogino Jasyantang nabidu sura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Our salutation to that Supreme Being who is one without a second, whom the sages call by various names. Our salutations to Him, whose glory has been sung to the rapturous hymns of the scriptures of the world, but whose limitless and infinite glory none can comprehend. But again, whom the sages and devotees realize within their hearts, in their deepest contemplation, Him we salute again and again. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So today our topic is Achina tree. The tree which is called Achina. Achina tree. Achina means which cannot be recognized. You are not familiar. You see the tree, but you don't know what it is. It looks like a tree, but it's something else. So one day, its story goes this: Ramakrishna was in the aggravated cancer condition, and he was talking to him, the writer of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and describing and thinking and telling him, how do you think of me? And M said, you are very special, you are, to me, you are God himself. Then how do you say that? Do I match with anyone? Then M started talking about other features, how he matches with the other incarnations of God, like Christ, and giving examples of Christ's life. And then ultimately discussion continued. And then Ramakrishna said, have you heard of a tree which is called Achina? Means there is a tree called by that name, but nobody knows what it is. So we see Christ and Buddhas and Ramas and Krishnas. They look like us as human beings, but we don't recognize them. Not only we recognize, but what we do, we sometimes disregard them. So this is the subject of our discussion today, whom we cannot recognize, but he moves, he comes again and again for the redemption of all. Same then continued to say, likewise, it is not possible to recognize you. As the tree you referred, Ramakrishna said, you are called Achine Gach, or tree unrecognizable. So Ramakrishna said, have you heard of a tree called like that? And there is a tree which is called by the name, that name Achine, but nobody knows. M instantly responded to that, likewise, it is not possible to recognize you. The more a man understands you, the more uplifted he will be. It's a great prophetic statement, no? As we recognize incarnation, we recognize God. Because there is nothing but God in him. And God comes with his whole power and majesty, but hides in such a way that it remains incognito. M was silent, and he said to himself, quote, the master referred to the sun at dawn and the tree unrecognizable by man. Did he mean an incarnation of God? Is this the play of God through man? Is the master himself an incarnation? Was this why he cried to the devotees from the roof of the kuti, where are you? Come, come unto me. These are the reflections in the mind of M. When Sri Ramakrishna said, what do you think about me? And then M responded that way, you are like a unrecognizable, as you give the example of unrecognizable tree, you are like that. And more a person understands incarnation, more spiritually he becomes developed. And also Sri Ramakrishna referred, have you seen like a sun rising in the eastern horizon? Everyone can look at that, and everyone can feel the joy and charm of that rising sun. Avatar is like a rising sun, glaring light of higher experience, ordinary people cannot grasp. But the same sun, when it is a rising condition, coming up, that beauty, everyone can enjoy. So Avatar can be enjoyed by ordinary people, but they do not understand. But they see the glory, the light, the effulgence of the sun, as sun comes out, the spirituality, the truth, the experience, the ecstasis, that they simply make. So it is, that's why Bhagavad Gita also talks about that, difficult for ordinary human being to recognize an avatar. Why? That They look like us. They accept human weaknesses, subject to hunger, subject to thirst. Ordinary look like sometimes they are frustrated like us. Sometimes they are like behaving exactly like we. Then how can we understand He is God Himself has incarnated? You see, when you read the words of Christ, it says that, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. What? You are son of, you are the light of the world? Ordinary people ridicule, you are God Himself, save yourself. You are now crucified, you are God, save yourself. What power you have? But they hide that. But in essence, when God incarnates, they are sometimes express their glory, their greatness, so that we can get a glimpse and catch Him and get our freedom from this bondage of suffering and pain. So He is declaring, I am the light of the world. This light is nothing. I am the light of this world. And this world means here the cosmos. And he that followeth me, the man, Christ, following, born and crucified, and following Him, he has the courage to say, shall not walk in the darkness, but shall have the light of life. And He is calling, what a boldness, He is calling, come unto me all ye that labour and heavily laden, and I will give you rest. What a proclamation. What a power. How can you say He is ordinary? And He did it. So that's why, but most of the time they hide themselves and their glories and powers. So, take my yoke, He is calling, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Here Ramakrishna says, Master Masai says, as much as we recognize the incarnation, we make a great spiritual progress, no? What is his exact language? Did he mean an incarnation of God? Is this the play of God through man? Master himself is incarnation? As it is the more a man understands you, the more uplifted he will be. See how it matches the words as much as as the incarnation is recognized by a pure soul. Pure soul only can understand the glory of when God comes with pomp and power, that everyone out of fear can recognize. But when He comes as a humble, most humble people in the world, and most ordinary looking, and no ego, to recognize the glory of the Lord is very, very, very difficult. But those who recognize, they make a progress. That's why He says, follow my yoke. It is easy and my burden is light. And ye shall see the light of life. So these are, parallel thoughts we find in every scripture. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna, he tells that I come, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. Not once upon a time. Whenever there is a decline of religion and all unrighteousness, I appear again and again. And then abhutyanam adharmas, when the unrighteousness is growing and up, and dharma, and so, and decline of spirituality happens, I reappear again and again. So this is the purpose. And when He comes, actually He had to suffer in the hand of ignorant people like us. That's why Sri Krishna says, Abhujananti mang mudha manushing tanumasritam. People ignore me. people don't recognize me, know me not in my dignity, but they know me as an ordinary human, an imperfected person like that, because I take it manushing tonum asritam. I take a human body, and human body has its own imperfections, body and mind. I'll have to enter into it through work. Out of sheer love I come, but param bhavam ajananto. They do not know my supreme nature. Who am I? I am the Lord of the universe. By my wish only the stars and galaxies are created. But this, it goes to void. This is me. I have come the same reality and working only out of compassion. The true purpose. Why you can say, if God is so powerful, why He has to come down here? Yes, by His will, everything can be done. But it is His play. And not only that, when He comes down, He lives a life, He guides us. Thousands of years will follow. People will follow their footsteps. I am the way, as Christ said, no? According to John 14.6, that I am the way, the truth, and life. Christ says, I am the truth, I am the way, I am the life, only real life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. They come only to take, and it is not finished in their lifetime. When they leave this body, they keep a path following which millions of people in the future, they will be freed from the agonies and troubles of life. So those who are heavily laden, where they will go? They will follow the path of perfection and purity, to go to Buddha, to go to Christ, to go to Rama, to go to Krishna, to go to Ramakrishna, go to Chaitanya. So these are, but who are they? They are different people all the time. One person coming from somewhere else, another person is replacing him. No, it is the same reality coming again and again. And that is the truth of, that's why Bhagavad Gita says, that they do not know my supreme nature. I am the Lord of the universe. Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. I am the Master, the Lord of the whole universe, creation, and which is non-created. And I am permeated everywhere. Maya tatamidam sarvam. I permeate the whole universe, creating everything. I have entered into it. And Jagat abhyakta murtita. In this Jagat, I remain in a form which is not manifested. I hide behind. That's why it's called this cosmic consciousness behind all this, no? The apparent consciousness, I'm talking, this is a relative expression of consciousness. But what is the internal reality, which is the inner consciousness? Vedanta calls Brahman, infinite, absolute consciousness, witness, or whatever terminology it be given. That real consciousness. I am permeated and I interpenetrate into the whole creation, but I am the support of everything. That's why I am Abhakta Murtina, Matsthani Sarva Bhutani. Everything rests on me only. I am the substratum of everything. And but don't think I am finished with the manifested universe. Looking at these ripples and waves on the surface, we glorify the ocean. But ocean is much bigger than the ripples and waves. How much is the water content below the waves and ripples of the ocean? It's only a little speck of dust in the surface. So the whole creation, we are overwhelmed. We cannot conceive even. More and more things are coming out. Hubble telescope and all these satellites are bringing news. But it is only news. How much is there? This universe we cannot conceive of. And that is only on the surface. But behind is, I am the substratum of all this universe. So who can conceive of that infinite truth which is so vast and grand? That's why in the Shankara commentary, in the Bhagavad Gita introduction. That's why it is repeatedly quoted that Bhagavan, such a Bhagavan, that God, Lord, who has all power, 6 treasures of power, who has the Gyana, knowledge, Vaishwarja, Shakti, power, valor, stage, etc. Sada Sampanna. That Lord is always having all these powers. But Trigunatmikam Vaishnaving Swang Mayam Mula Prakiting Boshikrityo. He, the Lord, I'm saying he, that's a wrong word. I cannot see, that's a wrong word. I cannot say eat, that's a wrong word. Don't say anything, that is the truth. If you say anything, you are limiting the infinite reality. But anyhow, Shankaracharya tried to express that unexpressible and which is beyond all language. He said, we are using the word he for the timing to understand, the Trigunatmikam, that power which is the 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, and controlling that Vaishnavi, Swang, and it is God's own power, the snake and its power of wriggling. That is within the singer, musician, and the power to sing. They remain in the same personality. You cannot put, this is the music part and this is the me part here. You cannot separate out like that. It is inherent, sometimes manifested, sometimes not manifested. So that Sangmayang Vashikritya, he controlling by his own magical Maya power. He appears Ajopi, Bhutanam, Abbayo, Ajo, Abbayo. He is birthless, Ajo, Abbayo, no decay. Ajo, Abbayo, Bhutanam Ishvara. He is the Lord of the universe. He is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhava. He is eternally pure, eternally full of consciousness and bliss, eternally free from all entanglements. That is his very nature. Being so, Samayaya, by his own magical power of Maya, what a tremendous power to infinite, to get into the, say, 5 feet 6 inches height, 5 foot 4 inches height, a human personality with flesh and bone. How can you do that? It's because he is God, he can do that. And that's why the Avatara comes here. Avatars are all this, he comes again and again. Dehovaniva, you see that I am born. It is your mind is seeing, but I remain in my own dignity, though I appear to be born. So this appearance, Ramakrishna said, that's why. That is there he who was Rama, he was Krishna. He is Ramakrishna. But not according to your Vedanta. If you say Vedanta, Avatara is also not there. Avatara is also in the level of duality, in the mind level, purer mind and higher mind and wherever. But that's why he said, but it is, why are you born? What is your business here? He says, only I born lokanugraham kurvan. That's why as the Christ call is coming, come unto me, why shall I go to you? Because you are heavily laden in the life's burden. You are burdened with so much things in life. You want to escape. I am here. Come, come. See? That is the only motivation of God's descending into the realm of this ignorant world and play and suffer like all we are. Ramakrishna said, and it is saprayojan abhave. We do every action by our own desire, unfulfilled desire. I want to fulfill my desire, that's why I do something. I go for a job, I go to school, I do swimming, I do hiking, everything for the purpose of body, for the purpose of mind, I do for every purpose. Then why you come again and again? But saprayojana abhave. Opi, I have no prayojan, I have no need from anything to be achieved from anyone. Bhuta anujigrikshaya, only to show compassion and love and to redeem people. That is the only force. So, I come down. And now I have come to Arjuna, O Arjuna, to teach you the path to release, how to get out of this bondage. So, Ramakrishna said, the God comes down. What is it is like? It is like the king of the country. No? Sometimes old days we heard that good kings, they used to come down themselves to verify the condition of his subjects. Used to come in disguise. Ramakrishna says, it is like the king coming down to watch the condition of his citizens. So God comes down to see our condition incognito. That's the incognito tree. That's the Chaddaveshe, Nagor. That is the power is manifested again and again for the good of all and for the good of every incarnation to the humanity. But they sometimes, when they come, they hide their spiritual dignity, but sometimes inadvertently they express their real nature. How is that? To a few special personalities. When Ramakrishna came, so he was a priest of Dakshineshwar, as we all know, very ordinary person, didn't go to school even, and had no formal education. But he, with his spiritual practice, showed us. He did so much. He said, I did so much. You do only little this. And what he did, and then all his gurus came in his life, and they give a stamp. Yes, this is correct. This is correct. They got it within what they learned in their whole life, and guru telling something, given some mantra, and he gets it within 3 days. And experience coming after experience. But Mathur Babu was very skeptic, though he loves Ramakrishna. But he thought it is not some mental all angularities. No, it is called the always hallucination. Most of the time we hallucinate. We think that it is revelation. But Sri Ramakrishna was a revelation. He thought it is hallucination maybe. And he doubted himself. And then when this question came, Mathur, he didn't believe in. Then Bhairavi Brahmani, one of his teacher, spiritual guru, who taught Tantra and Vaishnava Tantra and Shakta Tantra, and she was convinced that he is God himself. She said that, and then one day Mathur said that, I don't believe it. Well, you call a meeting, I will prove in front of all the scholars that what the symptoms manifested in the body of Ramakrishna, it is not ordinary, it is only can happen in God's body. Then he said, okay, call the meeting. And in that meeting, there came the great scholars in the scriptures, and Sri Ramakrishna sitting in between them like a child. And these scholars are debating with each other. Bhairavi Brahmani is proving, no, this is the same symptom manifested. This has been in the reference to this scripture of the Vaishnava literature. So he ultimately, the great scholars accepted that, yes, he is an incarnation. So Sri Ramakrishna was recognized that time by the gurus and the pandits that he was an incarnation. We find that the great scholar first proclaimed Sri Ramakrishna as an avatar with the blessings of Sri Ramakrishna. Ultimately, the Gauri Pandit, who was a great scholar, he himself renounced. That is the power of the Pandits, avatars. Incarnations, they can change anyone by any will, by casting a glance, by looking at, by touching, they can give spirituality. That is the special power. So Gauri Pandit's story is like that. Another scholar, great scholar, Narayan Sastri Pandit, he mastered 6 systems of philosophy, was offered a lucrative post in those days in the king of Jaipur. But he also accepted this condition of Sri Ramakrishna is not ordinary. we find that there are other scholars, the Pandit Padmalochan, he is the Pandit of Maharaj of Bardwan, accepted Sri Ramakrishna as avatar. And then Vishwanath Upadhyay, a captain, high officer in the kingdom of Nepal, a scholar of Gita, Bhagavat, Vedanta, said he seems to be the embodiment of the truth of the scriptures. Like that, all the great people understood that he looks like an ordinary person, but he is himself the incarnation of the divine. And Sri Ramakrishna said in one place, Gauri Pandit, is that Sri Ramakrishna is an ordinary. Is that all Vaishnavacharan say about you, Sri Ramakrishna? That famous Pandit, Vaishnavacharan said, he is undoubtedly experienced the Mahabhava, that is the spiritual attitude of the highest level of devotion with the Radharani. Gauri said, is that the Vaishnavacharan to say about you? Then he has said very little. I am fully convinced that you are the mine of spiritual power, only a small fraction of which descends on earth from time to time as incarnation. He puts him the real perspective. This Gauri Pandit is putting him in the real perspective. You think that Ramakrishna is an avatar? It is too little to say he is an avatar. He is that from which avatars come. Anyhow, this is we need not have to go into details. Mainly we have to understand that God comes down and takes a human body and plays. But we didn't understand. In the Bhagavat, Uddhava said, Durbhago Vato Loko Ayam. What a ill fortune for us that God, Lord, has lived, Krishna lived with us and played with the clan of Kurus, but no one recognized him. Like, he gave the poetic example, like in a calm lake, sometimes the full moon night, the reflection of this moon goes into the water, and the fish suddenly find, what a bright fish has come with us to play. And they play whole night with the sun, moon, reflected moon. And when the moon sets, then that shining fish disappear. Then they understand, oh, who was with us? We do not know. We could not recognize. It is something beyond. He does not belong to us. He does not belong to the earth. He belongs to the high heaven. So the Lord God who comes down, when he plays in the world, people mostly don't recognize and take them like ordinary and behave, and sometimes does which should not be done to a human being. So, one day that story, Sri Ramakrishna was the incarnation, that's not in what he said that I just quoted before. In the midst of one day he entered into Ramakrishna's room, and he was at that point of serious pain and the throat cancer has aggravated so much. And he entered into this room and he thought that he is incarnation, no? Many people talk about that. I also thought about that. But if he can now say that he is God, then I can believe. And as he entered into the room, he said, if in the midst of this raking physical pain, he, means Ramakrishna, declares his Godhead, then only I shall accept him as an incarnation of God. And then Sri Ramakrishna, without being asked, he smiled a little bit, and gathering his remaining strength, because he cannot speak that time, Sri Ramakrishna distinctly said, he who was Rama, he who was Krishna is Ramakrishna, but not according to your Vedanta. You know that story we remember on the Girish Ghosh, on the 1st of January 1986. Sri Ramakrishna was sick in the Kashipur garden house, and he could not come down for a long time. And suddenly he felt little better and he came down. And then he's seeing Girish and other devotees. He said, and Girish came and saluted. And as he was saluting, he asked Girish, Girish, what did you find in this? That you go on telling that I am an avatar or something like that. What do you saw? Then with a folded palm, Girish kneeled down and said, what more shall I say? What can an insignificant person like me, Girish, say about that one, whose glory even the sages like Vyasa and Valmiki could not adequately measure? That's why it is a deep study. Avatar study is a deep study. We cannot categorize particularly he is this or he is that. He is the whole gamut of spirituality. He is what we can conceive, what is beyond our conception. Which is within can be expressed in the language, which language stops there. So this is the way, and that's why to understand incarnation means reaching the highest knowledge of spiritual life. So he said that Vyasa and Valmiki, they are the writers of the Bhagavat and Mahabharata, and then Valmiki, the Rama's life, such profound books talking about the glory of the Lord incarnated, could not say enough. Such scholars like that, such great personalities. Who am I, ordinary Girish, what you call producer and actor, all this in a dramatic performance? How can I describe that glory of you? Yeah. So, this incarnation, Sri Ramakrishna said, the incarnation is like an udder. The only place milk is to be got. There is great accumulation of divinity in an incarnation, like the accumulation of fish in a deep, hollow lake. He is talking about to get an understanding, Ramakrishna's language, that what is incarnation. In the language of Sri Ramakrishna himself, it is like the udder, the cow, milk, we get milk from the cow. But to find the source, where is the maximum milk we can collect, that is the udder. So, incarnation is like udder. If we have a little love for incarnation, it is easy to love God when He incarnates. It's easy to love, no? A human personality with beauty, with simplicity, with honesty, with singing, dancing. Who will not love Christ? Who will not love Buddha? Who will not love Ramakrishna? Because they are the purest sample of human expression in this material world. Love, compassion, unconditional love, unconditional freedom given to everyone, no? And not looking at our faults and just rejecting. They accept rather where everyone is rejected, they get shelter at the feet of the Ramakrishna, like avatars, like Christ and Buddhas, you know. So that is the seeing incarnation of God is another important point for our spiritual sadhana. Seeing, Ramakrishna said, seeing an incarnation of God is the same as seeing God Himself. We may say we don't know God, we don't know whether He is existing or not. If one can look at the picture of an incarnation, they are so embodiment of purity and love and compassion and holiness. Just by looking at that, our mind gets colored in the coloring of the divine, unconsciously. So that is the easier path for our spiritual growth. Do you know, Ramakrishna said, what God with form is like? Like bubbles rising on an expanse of water. Various divine forms are seen to rise out in the great akash of consciousness. Incarnation of God is one of these forms. The primordial energy sports as it were, through the activity of a divine incarnation. The primal energy, the spirit of doing good to the world, acts through the body of incarnation, is the consolidated consciousness. So, our love for God will be enhanced if we love incarnations. So, Achina, though they are not recognized, not recognizable easily, but that simplicity, that purity, that can be absorbed in our life by loving an incarnation. Thinking, that's why the spiritual seekers have benefited so much loving Krishna. Ages together, the Krishna is worshipped in India. And how many people got at the point of death the vision of Krishna, living in the consciousness of Krishna, in the living presence of Rama, like that. So that Achina tree will be open and they will be recognizable in the pure heart when one will be purified by spiritual practice and prayer and all these things. The true nature of the incarnation will be revealed, as also our own nature will be revealed. Thank you. So now I will introduce our one brother, Swami Medhananda, who has been sent by our headquarters to join our team here working. We are very happy to have him here. And he was here, Swami Sahananda Maharaj, when he was here, he came, in not here means Hollywood, in Hollywood. So he was initiated by our Swami Sahananda Maharaj in 2009. And then after having initiation, he went to India and went on pilgrimage and seeing different centers, and about 6 months. And then he joined in Vivekananda University in our headquarters, near our headquarters. And he joining there as a brahmachari, and in the 2010. And he had his PhD, of course, and then finished his all studies in the Berkeley University. And then he, joining in the university, he'd become the head of the program in philosophy and became the associate professor there and took care of the students' program. Some PhDs had their PhD program, so he supervised them there. And then he had his in credit 2 books. 2018, Oxford University Press has published a beautiful book, very scholarly book. You can get it. It's called The Infinite Path to Infinite Reality. Infinite Path to Infinite Reality, Sri Ramakrishna and Cross-Cultural Philosophy and Realization. And another book recently, 2022 in March, Oxford University has published that. It is Swami Vivekananda's Vedantic Cosmopolitanism and Scientific Research. So, constructive, what is that? Cosmopolitanism. Swami Vivekananda, Vedantic Cosmopolitanism. And then he, after that, he was in our Mysore as he was their senior research fellow in philosophy, and then he was sent to us. We are very happy to have him here and to join our team. Swami Medhananda.
Om Sthapakaya ch dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. My humble pranams to revered Swami Sarvadevananda Ji Maharaj and all the Matajis and the novitiates here. Everybody has given me a very gracious welcome here in Santa Barbara. It's my first time here, and I'm just kind of overwhelmed and stunned by the surroundings, by the beauty. And I'm reminded of something that Sri Ramakrishna used to say. He said that when confronted with the sublimity of nature, the mind sort of automatically goes to God. Sorry. So when he was thinking, he might have been thinking of like the Himalayan mountains, that Mount Everest, things like that. But here, we're facing the infinite Pacific Ocean, the infinite blue sky, and it's hard not to think of God in these kinds of surroundings. So it's wonderful to be here. It's a great privilege. Thank you all for attending as well. And thank you to Maharaj for his generous introduction. I'm only going to be speaking for a couple of minutes, so I was asking myself, what should I talk about? I thought I would just mention briefly how I first got connected with the Hollywood ashrama and how I ended up here again. Maharaj mentioned that in 2009, May, I completed my PhD from UC Berkeley. It was in German aesthetics, so mainly Kant and Hegel and other things, so somewhat far afield from what I'm doing now. But there are deep connections also, but to get into that, it would take several lectures, so I'm not going to do that now. But after my PhD, I came down to Southern California. My parents were living in Calabasas at the time, so I was staying with them. I bought a one-way ticket to India because for years I wanted to be a monk in India. I had my heart set on becoming a monk in India. And so I booked my ticket for like September something or other, 2009. A one-way ticket, and then I saw on the internet that there was this very senior monk in the Hollywood ashrama, Swami Sarvadevananda, a disciple of Vijnanananda, who's a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. And I thought, let me pay my respects to him and meet him before going to India and get his blessings. So I visited the Hollywood ashrama. I attended the arati, the evening arati, and then I did pranams to him. And he asked me my background. I gave my background for like 2 minutes or something. And then he said, and I told him that I've already booked my one-way ticket to India, everything. And he said, I will give you Diksha. And Diksha means spiritual initiation. And that kind of took me by surprise. And I told him, Maharaj, I was thinking of getting initiated in Belur, which is the headquarters of our monastic order in India. And he said, no, in India, when you get initiated, it's in a group of 50 or 100 people. And here it's one-on-one, it's very intimate. And still, I didn't say yes immediately. I went back home, I thought about it. Then a couple days later, I was speaking to my uncle on the phone. And I told my uncle what happened. And he said, are you crazy? He's a senior Swami. And he's offering to give you initiation. You should accept it. And your birthday is coming up. Why don't you ask him to give you initiation on your birthday? And so I did. So I asked him, and he agreed. He agreed to give me initiation on my birthday in 2009 in August, just weeks before I came to India. But right after my initiation, he then threw a curveball at me, and he said, I know you bought your ticket to India, but I want you to join under me here in Hollywood. And then I was like, oh boy, what did this felt like a bait and switch a little bit. And he's so senior. He was like 89, 90 at the time. And he had just become my guru. So I said okay, but reluctantly. But within a few hours, I can't remember the exact kind of time frame, but it just something wasn't feeling right. Because as I mentioned just now, for years, my heart was set on starting my monastic life in India. So what happened was I was praying in the Hollywood temple and not feeling very good about having agreed to join in Hollywood. And I was sitting on that, there are some benches outside the temple, on the side of the temple. So I was sitting there looking pensive, and then an elderly gentleman wearing slacks and a dress shirt came up to me, and he sat next to me. He said, what's the matter? You look so pensive. And I told him, and then he said, let me tell you my own joining story. And then he told me about joining as a monk in Kolkata, and I realized he was revered Swami Sarvadevananda. As my first encounter with him, I think he must have gone out for some appointment, doctor's appointment or something. That's why he wasn't wearing the girwa. So then I realized he was the assistant minister to Swahanandaji at the time. And I told him everything, and I said, Maharaj, what should I do? My heart set on going to India, and I just agreed sort of prematurely to join in Hollywood. And then he just gave me one very valuable piece of advice. He said, you should follow your heart. And then that little piece of advice gave me the courage to go back to Swahanandaji, and I said, Maharaj, I've already booked my ticket, my heart set on going to India. I asked for your blessings. And he was very supportive and didn't get upset with me at all. And in fact, I told him that I wanted to do a 6-month pilgrimage in India before joining, as Maharaj mentioned. So he wrote a letter to all Swamis in India, please allow Brahmachari Ayan to remain in your ashrama for up to 3 nights. So I took that letter with me to all the different centers I visited during my 6-month pilgrimage. And then the rest is history. I joined at the university. I stayed there for 11 years. And then I shifted to our ashrama in Mysore, South India, where I was continuing my academic research. And then I got this phone call from the general secretary in Belumat asking me to come to Hollywood. And so 2 weeks ago I came to Hollywood, and some part of me thinks that it might be my guru's play or his idea of a joke. You said you didn't want to join, so now I brought you back here to Hollywood. But in any case, it's all divine will, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm grateful for the experience I had in India, and I think with that in the background, I can hopefully make a better contribution to the ashrama here in Hollywood. So I'll leave on that note. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.
After the night gives birth to the morning dawn, after the moon shines round to the golden sun, after our tears give way to a joyful song, His face will come. He's told us grace is blowing like the wind. Deep inside is the finest friend. Set your sails and catch that wind. It's always blowing, always flowing. The sea of bliss is ever round. Far from the waves of up and down. Deep in thy love, Lord, let me drown. Fill my heart with the sound of your name. Oh, Rama Krishna. Oh, Rama Krishna. Oh, Rama Krishna.
So, next Sunday will be 4th of September. That will be Swami Vedarupananda will be speaking on the topic divinity of man. The divinity of man. That will be the topic next month. And other classes will be as usual, and Wednesday and Saturday. So we end our session here, and we'll be meeting in question answer again when you are come back again. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. So we'll greet you at the gate and the Swami will also be there. Thank you. So this is for our QA. If you have anything we can talk about. Yes. Let's do this one. No. I'm coming to you first. Yes.
Ladies first.
Not ladies first, but the hand was raised first. Yeah. Could you close the door? Yeah, please.
So I wanted to ask a couple of things. You mentioned in the talk, love the talk, and you mentioned I love the talk, and you mentioned in the talk Ramakrishna's most famous words when Swamiji asked him when he had cancer about the truth of his being, and when his reply was, he who was Rama, he who was Krishna is now Ramakrishna, but not in your Vedantic sense. So I often, with our deep study of Advaita Vedanta, of non-dualism, as we mature in our practice, in our life, in our understanding, to have a deeper appreciation and understanding of the incarnation from the Vedantic sense, from the sense of Advaita. When we practice and we reflect perhaps on a Mahavakya where we understand the truth of our ultimate nature, being in identity with Brahman, and then we reflect on the incarnation, and if that is our path, then the incarnation becomes our vehicle, our bridge to realizing and recognizing our true nature. And so I sometimes falter with the devotion part and wondering, what is that? What is the clarity of that bridge, and wanting more deeply to understand that and to take it into practice. And then during Ramakrishna's, we find in the gospel at one point, I think it was when Ishan was visiting with him, not sure, but that's what my memory says. And he was starting to tell about, Sri Ramakrishna was starting to share some of his personal experiences. And he said, this is something very close to me or secret to me, but at one point I saw Sachitananda come out of this form and say, oh, this is a full manifestation of Sachitananda. And there was a second thing where he said, and I can't remember what he quoted, but he said, and this too worshipped, it was very sattvic or worshipped Shakti. And I just wanted to, I have often reflected on that, and I wanted to understand that more deeply to take it into practice. So
I think there is no contradiction between thinking the truth as Satchidananda, absolute, and also thinking the expression of that absolute is the incarnation. First of all, who does sadhana? Who does practice? Who is an embodied being? What is the embodiment? It's not the personality. That means my ego is functioning, my mind is functioning. So long I am in the body-mind limit, I'm talking about Brahman, I am talking about Satchidananda, but we don't have any idea of it. So that's why it is a bridge between the Saguna and to Nirguna, and Ramakrishna has clearly sorted out all these problems. These are only different stages and flights of experience. There is no contradiction. I am viewing the sun from here, and someone is viewing the sun going 1,000,000 miles closer to the sun. And the sun remaining the same, views are changing and pictures are coming different. Experiences are having, of course, everyone's experience is different as the flight goes on and closer, and you go very close. You need not have to do anything. If we love God as incarnation, just love and pray and do meditate on His pure form, mind will be so pure, it will coming closer and closer to the truth and truth. Then that form of meditation, the object of meditation will automatically melt into that objectless thing. It will happen, it will glide itself. We need not have to do anything. It will suck. Ramakrishna says a magnet will be sucked. It is only the question that we have to do. But that is also another path. I am the witness. I am not the body, not the mind. I am that. The same thing is happening. I am, as one is loving God and moving towards that reality more and more by meditation, by keeping the eyes open or whatever way. What happens is forgetting the body, forgetting the mind. We are limited in the body and mind, all the conflict, confusion, joy, suffering, pleasure, pain, either in the body level or in the mind level. So, and also intellectual level, that's why we put it into the same level as mind, antakarana, even ego level. I am such and such, I am such big. So long we are in this range, we will have to worship Saguna. It is easier. Of course, there are many people, and those who are proud that I don't like the Saguna, I only practice Nirguna, they are also not telling the right thing. I like Nirguna. I don't want any form like this. I want only God in the... Okay, what do you think of God? Okay, close your eyes. Say what is God? God is like sky. What do you understand of sky? You are making a map of sky, that's all. And that's is it not a limitation? Is it not a saguna? So where will you go? I'm thinking of God as Brahman, infinite ocean. Can you think infinite? You go just take a boat and stand in the middle of the Pacific and try to think of ocean. You will see a horizon of ocean. That's all, a map of ocean. So we are always limited to think in limited way. Better I say, that dry thinking of dry ocean, instead of that, a smile of Christ, a smile of Buddha, the smile of Ramakrishna, this endearing look, his play is dear to the devotees. But I am not saying I am a follower of all, so I like this, I like that. We switch. Do this at some time, do that at some time, knowing fully well you are reaching the same goal. Both are to go beyond body-mind complex, body-mind identity. Both are to think of that which is the truth, beyond all prejudices, beyond all mentation, because mind creates its own imagination. It is putting some limitation to the unlimited. So, just to continue, and it will lead to the same goal. There is no two way to go. There is no two destinations. Thank you. Take that microphone.
Oh, no. You know what? I'm wearing this. It's not a solicitation. It's my life.
Okay.
So my quick question, since there's a whole bunch of the disasters that Mother Nature makes, what is your church, this temple, doing? Climate change is another disaster. It's going to happen if we don't move. So what is this church doing? Besides the recycle and reuse and all that, or is there a little program going on? You go ahead.
Okay.
No solicitations. I can wear what shirt I want.
Okay. You don't have to talk. That's just you have said your point. Thank you.
What is she saying? I'm not soliciting
Anyhow, the question is that, yes, we should do so many things, but in our present condition, we are not have any project like that, and we are not equipped to do such things. We're not ready to conduct some such planned way of work. But what is our work? We do humbly in our own garden, in our own consumption of water. We try to consume every drop. We try to use the least possible wastage of water in our own way, as much as we can support this nature's preservation. So we try that. And another point is that we also do in our humble way our own spiritual practice, and we try to pray every day for the good of all. If that has any value, that adds to that. No, and in India, of course, we have many projects. It's a very famous organization in India, all over India. So there are so many ways of manpower is there, projects are there. They plant trees, thousands and thousands of trees in some place. They take different projects to help the nature's preservation and other things. And this is also internal nature preservation, you know. This is the external nature preservation. It is also internal nature preservation. If we correct this internal nature and preserve there, then that will be expressed in the outer. So we try to improve the, bring the awareness of people for better life, honest life, sincere life, spiritual life, so that changes their perspective of life, and that helps the society. They will be better people then. Okay, thank you. Anyone? Yes.
Pranam Swamiji, I have two questions. First one, I was born in Calcutta, India, and then I moved here for my study, and now I live here for work. As year passing by, I always have been experiencing something inside never change, such as there are times I experienced my early, like when I was 3rd or 4th grade in my school, my memory and my feelings, inner feelings, as this morning when I woke up, exactly the same. There is something, you call it light or something else, that is unchanging. And I'm curious to know, is that something we all talking here, Vedanta, which is like not this body, not this mind, but there is something Atman. Am I experiencing that Atman?
Ramakrishna's words, 2 I. Unripened I and one ripened I. That unripened I's activity, you remember. I did that. But somebody has observed that I, doing that I, that is the unchanging I. And that unchanging I is going on every day, every moment, every second. There is called Mahakal. Time cannot touch that. Whether I am alive, whether I am dead, that unchanging I is behind me. All the changes are coming on that surface. And every one of us, not knowing that it is that unchanging I. We have never thought about it. Everything has happened. I did, I went, I going to school, I had my friend, I had a fight with my friend, I have a loving relationship with this friend. Whatever I are saying, some I is observing that. That observer I is never changed. And that is observer, and that is the reality, it will come ultimately. So it is that unchanging I, every one of us are actually experiencing, but we are not aware of that. That awareness is called spirituality. Spirituality is nothing to, you are not find God as if hiding somewhere in the heaven or in the corner of this room and somewhere in the hiding away. It is everywhere. I am seeing nothing but the divine. But I am not recognizing that. That's why Panchadoshi, they have one scripture says that Mant, Maso Abda Juga Kalpeshu, Gata Gammeshu Anekatha, Na Uditi, Na Astam Eti, Shambit Esha Sayang Prabha. That Shambit, that consciousness, that I, unchanging I, Shambit Esha Sayam Prabha. It is self-luminous. Na Udeti, like the sun came up in the morning, darkness went away, again sun sets, again darkness comes. There is no rising and setting of the sun, the eternal sun, that big sun, which is constantly in its own divine glory, all the time revealing all our emotions, all our failures, all our success, all our joys, all our sufferings. That is the unchanging I. Unchanging I is always behind us. We are not only focusing on that side, we are looking at the changing side only. And the change can be experienced not by change, but something which does not change. That's what it says, that the month goes away, month, Masha, Abdo, right? Year passes, Juga, years, 12 years, or a Juga concept is also how many? I forgot the calculation. Kalpa, huge number of years, maybe some millions of years. They come and go. But that sun of consciousness never comes, never goes. That is called Brahman, that is called Atman. We live in Brahman. We eat in Brahman. We die in Brahman. We experience joy in Brahman. But we don't know. That's the point. That's called the Maya. That's called the mystery.
Thank you. My second question is, I came down after trekking in Himalayas, a place called Satapant. That was 16,000 feet. When I came down towards Badrinath, night before, it was a full moon night, and I woke up with songs and music. And it was full moon night, and I stepped out, and I have Sherpa and guide with me. Everybody was sleeping. At 2 o'clock, I saw the time, and it's beautiful music and dance. Somebody with the bells I can hear, but it was coming in the air, and there was a humongous falls coming down. It's called Sahasradhara in that area, and I sat there until I watched the music, listen the whole music until sun rises. And my main guide was a Tibetan gentleman. And I asked him, he said, "You have been up whole night?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Why you been up whole night?" So I mentioned this incident. And he mentioned, he opened a book. He said he became guide in that area to experience what I just experienced. And according to him, it was Lord Adobe. Sometimes musician and dancer come and they play for Lord. And according to him, that was I was experiencing, because there is no humanity in that altitude.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want to ask your opinion on that.
Yeah. You know, these hearing celestial songs, they are good when your mind in another. You know, the whole world is mind. Everywhere there is vibration. In this level of vibration I am talking to you, another level of vibration I will not hear. This eyesight, I am seeing you in this level of wave, and another level of wave I will be dark. I will not see anything. So in the condition of the mind, yes, these things can be heard. There maybe that voice is there, song is going on. As in your, what you do in your radio channel or in your TV channel. You click 10, all the scenario, it is there. In this room is also there. But I don't see what is going on in channel 10 of the television now. Do you see? No. You bring one instrument and click it 10 and you will see. Go to number 50 channel, what is going on in 50th, you can see. All vibration is here. So similarly in the mental vibration, we can go to all this. But understand, Vedanta does not give much value to these until and unless it changes your character. These are good. You have a vision, you got something that inspired you, really good, because that is the moment it signs that your mind was in a different level of vibration. Good idea, but to hang on to that point and go further, till the transformation of life comes. Change in character will come. Joy, peace will dawn more and more. You'll be full of peace. Then it is spiritual. And we are seeking for that. But it has its own value. I'm not putting it down. But it is in our order, in our tradition. We say that's good. But charai veti, go forward. Don't stop there. Swami Vivekananda, go forward. Ramakrishna said, yeah, you are selling the firewood. Are how much? Go forward. And he didn't believe. So he was still chopping the wood and then selling into the market with a heavy labor, getting some few dollars, no? And he believed then that the holy man has said me to go inside. So he started moving inside. And as he moved inside, there he find a sandalwood forest. Wow! And the cart, and then started selling them. See? Higher and higher. But that's also a forest. You are not yet reached the goal. So go forward in spiritual life till you forget your identity, body, mind, soul goes away and you are established in that absolute unchanging joy. We call God the Saguna. Saguna also limitation, but go beyond that, reach that point. So till the goal is reached. Swami Vivekananda said, no? So our goal should be like that. These are good signs, but you have to work more and more to go deeper and deeper till journey ends there. Okay? You are saying something? Question?
Yes. It resonates with me when you...
No, I couldn't hear.
It resonates with me when you talk about the I, the unchangeable I. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not affected by the Maya that goes around. It can't be affected by that.
It cannot be affected by Maya. Yes, it is affected by Maya. That's why you are not recognizing.
Pardon me?
It is affected by Maya. That's why, or ignorance. That's why we are not recognizing. When the veil of Maya will be opened up, then we'll see the same, realize the same thing.
Right, but the I that's unchangeable will not be affected by the external circumstances.
No.
So, when it comes to the end of my life, or if I don't become enlightened, makes no difference what I do here.
No.
It won't be affected, it won't affect who I am.
No, that's true. But you, at the point if I die, I will not go back to that eternal I.
Say that again?
If I die now, with my expectations, desires in my mind, I will not go back to the eternal I.
But I shouldn't be affected by any of those desires.
No, you will be.
The I shouldn't be.
Real I will not be. But you, as a person, you will be.
The person is dead.
Who's dead? Body is dead, but your mind is not dead. When we die, our mind does not die. This body goes.
So where does the mind go? Where does the mind go?
That you have to understand.
Pardon?
Suppose every day, when you go to dream, your body dies.
I'm not in my body then, right?
That's why you are...
I exist without the body.
Yeah, you exist without this body, and after physical death, I will exist there, not in this body.
Right. But whatever happened in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
What happens, whatever I did here...
But its impression, no, but its impression is hidden in your mind. Every thought you thought, every word you say, every act you do, it creates, see, like a lake. Example is given. Our mind is like a lake. Any thought you think, it will create a ripple. That's the instant reaction. But that thought goes down as a substratum of the mind called the impression. All impressions, till childhood, till today, what we have done, thought, seen, acted, its impact, immediate impact was there one way. I was happy, I was unhappy. I got joy, I didn't get that joy. I was very much depressed, I was very high. But they are not dead. All these impressions have gone down. And that bundle is called the sangaskara. That will go with me. This physical body, I have entered into the body with a bundle of things, with the help of mind and other things. That's called the Sukshma Sarira. We have 3 bodies. This is the physical body. I have my physical, I am working through the physical body now. Meaning, I am working through my subtle body also. And my causal body also. 3 bodies we have. Subtle body is whatever our mind, intellect, and also this subtle sense organs. That's why in the dream you see, you have your eyes, you have your hand, you have your feet. Those are called the subtle organs. Panchasthula bhuta, shukshma bhuta. There is sukshma, there is also water. We are thirsty. Don't we drink water in our dream? But that dream is, that water is not this water. The scarcity of water in the Santa Barbara. That water does not go there. So, but there is water. But that is a subtle water. That's why we live in that subtle level. So until we again try to find some body where I will enter and fulfill my desires. That's the rebirth theory.
So after we leave this body, we still function within this subtle body.
Right.
So, so we're like sentient beings, right? And so we're locked into senses. So even the mind, the subtle body has senses, right? Or imaginative.
Just you think what you have in your dream.
Pardon me?
Just you think about your dream.
I don't dream anymore.
Any time in your life you have dreamt.
Well, I don't have a story anymore. It just is like objects going around objects or something like
That's
that.
why mind is there. That's why objects are
It's
going.
still there.
Yeah.
Yes. So an enlightened being, does he still carry the causal body?
Enlightened being, they don't have to carry the body because they are free.
Right, so they don't carry the causal body nor the mental.
Because all are gone.
Right, good.
When you realize the truth, what happens? Your disconnection happens with your all the old bundle of impressions. That goes away. They give the example. Suppose there is a hunter. Hunter, his duty is to hunt. So he goes here and puts an arrow and triggers some bird or something like that. So one day, due to tremendous experience of suffering of the animals he has killed, he said, what am I doing? I don't want to do this business anymore. So he throws away, with this dawn of knowledge due to renunciation, he throws away this all arrows, past is gone. But he also says, I will not kill anybody anymore. Future is stopped. But the arrow, what he has triggered, it is in the middle way. You cannot get out of it. So long it goes and its momentum becomes zero, then the arrow drops. This body will continue and it will drop at the point. So now you see, this body drops, old samskara gone, no future work. So you are free soul. Then you become that unchanging I. Okay? Thank you. Okay. So, that's all. Thank you then. We'll meet you again some future time.